not urinating on the fire, man.
Yeah, we suck at those.
I'll give somebody else that.
The culture is actually damn good.
Last week's intro had a massive void. I didn't get to flex my terrible prediction knowledge on you, but I can certainly make up for that this week. Tree Picks is proudly partnered with Underdog, the daily fantasy destination that's a hell of a lot more reliable than me. How did I do with Bucs Falcons anyway? I'm totally fumbling the ball here. Not winning or losing, but turning into Mike Tomlin. No record under 500. Let's change that here. Texans versus Packers, as close to a Super Bowl caliber matchup as you can get. Let's dig in. I love me some CJ Stroud, but he's been all but a lock to throw a pick a game. At half an interception, regardless of performance, I'm choosing higher on that. Josh Jacobs has been a rock for the Packers. And despite the Texans' strong defense, I think he's going to be higher than his projected rushing yard total. Jaden Reed had a down week in terms of yardage last week, but he's the top dog in the Packers' receiver room. And he gets a lot of touches. I think he bounces back, so going higher for him. Dalton Schultz hasn't gotten more than 34 yards in a game this season. And despite Nico Collins' injury, he's more of a safety valve for the rest of the offense. I'm going lower in his receiving yards. But if there's one thing the Texans put up, it's points. So Kaimi Fairbairn's going higher than his point total. He's as reliable as they come. And Underdog's Pick'em game's reliable in the same way. Boosttober is here. And that means a special promo on Underdog for every day of the month. Why wait? If you wish to join, remember to use the promo code UTREE in the link below to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash in your first deposit. As well as a special pick in the lobby. With Underdog, you can do better than me. Trust me on this. But please play responsibly if you do. This is for supremacy in the NFC West, but it feels so much weaker than that this year. What we see now are two hobbled franchises. No health at the skill positions for San Fran, no health in the secondary for Seattle. And it would get worse for them during the game. In front of the 12s, the Seahawks ended up exposing themselves for every flaw in the book. One of the more porous defenses in the NFL, terrible at stopping the run, unable to run themselves anymore. It's a disaster that only got more agonizing. San Francisco was giving them every chance in the book to come back. Come on, Seattle, you can do it! We've blown double-digit leads twice this year. Join them in victory! The Seahawks respond with the worst performance Geno's had all year and gobs of untimely penalties. 3 straight losses on a defense that surrenders like Cornwallis at Yorktown. Seattle, you're in such shit you don't know how deep you're in it. The Niners won with Brock Purdy barely breaking a sweat with spare parts, and they did so with relative ease. That's damning. But don't think you're getting out of this one, boys. Another dub means more injuries as penance. You like Jordan Mason? What Jordan Mason? I don't see anything like him around. He'll be starting some dudes from the beer league in week 9 who will tear their ACL in the first quarter. Earlier this week, Shad Khan defended the utter morons in charge of his team since he still believes they can win. They rewarded his patience by playing even worse than they did before. All Chicago needed to unleash the full ability of their offense was to play Jacksonville. Are the Jags starting a JV defense? Are they just trash? I don't know, I don't care. Bears are destroying them in every conceivable way. Cole Kmet was thrust into emergency duty as long snapper, and he had one of the best performances of his career. Caleb Williams had a game rivaling his upside as a pro. 4 passing touchdowns. Totally had faith in them the whole way. Never had concerns about him in week 2 at all. Against whatever the fuck this secondary is, Trevor Lawrence has to be God himself to overcome it. Spoiler, he isn't. Especially not when his receivers are dropping every fucking thing in sight. London gets to witness a massacre rivaling St. George's Fields. But is it really one when a team lies down to die? To call the Jags a joke would imply they were funny. They're just awful. I have a feeling Shad's gonna lock Peterson and Bulky in London Tower. There's an unfortunate stipulation in trying to kill Jacoby Brissett. He's union. They won't allow him to work in such conditions. This means that Drake May is being thrown in horrifically unseasoned because the Patriots like defiling them young. And his first real test is Houston. New England just built a fine coffin. Get in, Drake. This offensive line's gonna get him killed. Even if he looked decent enough in his first game, the team around him is awful. If If they can't get him insulation, they'll Mac Jones him in no time at all. Despite his efforts, the Texans merely had to hold their hands out for it, and it would stop any sort of resistance. Houston went to New England and came out slaughtering every firstborn son. C.J. Stroud sent them back to a puritanical standard of life. Almost 200 yards of rushing. No chance in hell for Belichick's leftovers. You think this is bad for New England? Next week it's a potential tank bowl for the ages. This is punishment for the Boston Massacre, London. What the hell is Arizona? Are they supposed to be good or shit or solely bailed out by Kyler or what? That defense, I honestly can't tell. They shut down San Francisco in the second half, but get minced into a puree by Jordan Love all game long. Well, Jordan himself had a lovely day indeed, skying the ball effortlessly for 4 touchdowns and guiding Green Bay to probably the easiest win they've had all year. Meanwhile, Kyler got clamped and could do nothing for the most part. The only thing that offense did was cough up the ball like it was phlegm. Let's hope when MHJ's in concussion protocol. This was over pretty quickly and turned into a celebration of all things green and yellow at Lambeau. Feel good for Romeo Doubs. He went from being suspended for skipping practices to securing 2 touchdowns on the day. The Packers are back to their regular selves. To think the NFC North became a gauntlet division. Holy shit, all 4 of those teams might make the playoffs this year. In their darkest hour, the best quarterback in the 2024 NFL Draft will be making his long-awaited debut. No, not Drake May, but Spencer Rattler. He will hold his own. Barely. Too bad the rest of the Saints franchise got ran over by the same car that took out their QB. Tampa Bay was eager for blood. They had to evacuate for the cesspool on Tuesday morning, and hotel beds are a pain in the ass. The Bucs will roar out to a 17-point lead since New Orleans remembered their head coach is Dennis Allen. But then things got fucky. Rashid Shaheed pulled off a punt return for the ages, and Baker decided to imitate famous Jameis with receivers that can't catch for some reason. Before you know it, the Saints had the lead? How? How the hell are they leading at half? Someone give the Bucs a Snickers, they aren't themselves without it. That definitely worked. Tampa Bay came into the second half after gaining energy and burst their opponent into the ether. Spencer got rattled. Tampa Bay incinerated everything like hell itself, and the Saints defense curled up into the fetal position. I know New Orleans is dealing with injury, but giving up almost 600 yards of offense? Are you fucking kidding me? Remember when everyone was crowning them as contenders after beating Carolina on a Mike Zimmer defense? Well, they've lost 4 straight since then with no end in sight. It's standard Saints fare, showing an appearance of holiness while being as bland and brittle as a communion wafer. Tampa Bay proved themselves as better. To get rid of the sloppiness, and the division should be for the crew. I demand that both of these teams are handed L's on the day. One team is dead in all but name, the other might as well be with how they've been playing. Philadelphia is a shithole. Surprisingly not the city, but the Eagles are rivaling the Phillies for fucking up. A team with this much talent should not be struggling this much against a bottom feeder. Despite besting them in both talent and production, the Eagles are making this much closer than it should be.
Ready.
A.J. Brown might be back, but life ain't easy being Kelly Green. Blocked field goals for touchdowns? You bet Cleveland's converting those. The fans justifiably want Sirianni's head. Is your offense constipated? Just take some laxatives, it'll free up the head coach clogging your intestines. Philly's saving grace is in their opponent. The Browns can't offense. At all. They've only scored once in their last 29 drives. Every match against the AFC East lost. You'd think things would be long overdue for change, but Cleveland's simply going to keep their heads in the sand. No, Deshaun's not the problem here. We may barely move the ball, and Deshaun's a complete liability, but it's definitely not Watson. Trust us. I'm supposed to applaud Philly for barely beating a joke franchise? You got bailed out by high-end talent, and you know it. Yet that fucking hack Sirianni's out here chirping the fans on the sidelines like he won anything worth a damn. The Eagles are at home. Buddy, you're lucky you're not serving them Dollaritas at fucking Applebee's. And trotting out your kids as a shield from criticism during the press conference, too. That's pathetic. Nick, you're definitely a fine locale of the week for your poor imitation of a clown. The clown can be funny. You're just aggravating. Get back to making my fries. Colts did a good thing today. Anthony Richardson is once again told to hit the pine and heal from injury. Joe Flacco will once again heal us all from shitty quarterback play. He is the savior from the awful offense that plagues our league today. From dreams to memes, a glorious sight.
Perfect.
But he has a rival. Will Levis is a meme lord of the modern age, not only choosing to imitate Spider-Man shooting blanks in an end zone dance, but valiantly fighting for every yard he can, even if it means killing a ball boy on the sidelines. Not joking, that guy had to be carted off on a fucking hearse. Good at quarterbacking, what are you talking about? Levis is fucking shit in that aspect of play, but think of the memes! That alone is worth 1,000 bad throws. Tennessee may have been unable to do a damn thing against a Swiss cheese injury-riddled defense, but that won't stop them from being humiliated in a game they should have won. All the Titans have to do is generate some form of offense. They're only down by 3. Tennessee's defense is clamping down on the old man for Indy. What does their unit produce when it matters? 39 yards on 4 drives. A pissed-off Calvin Ridley, 2 3-and-outs, and a pick. This is the future of your franchise? Honestly, if I'm Will, I move to the Hellman's PR unit. He has a lot more success in memes than quarterbacking. Colts get back to 500 thanks to Flacco magic. It wasn't pretty, but when Will Levis is starting for the other team, it's a guaranteed win for you. By the way, what the fuck happened to L'Jarius Sneed? Who had this game as game of the week at the start of the year? The Ravens are high-flying Super Bowl contenders, yes, but the Commies? Under a Jaden Daniels flashing franchise upside? Anything really is possible. This will be their greatest test. If they can even keep pace with Baltimore, it'll be a resounding success. Good news for Washington, they kept up. That's the only silver lining on the day. Commies just aren't anywhere near good enough to keep up with the elite of the league. Turns out their defense isn't exactly what we call serviceable. They're like a sponge. Porous. For most of the game, the Ravens merely imitated vultures, pecking away at their rotting, diseased carcasses on the open field. Almost 500 yards of death and destruction of their full 45 minutes south. I think the Ravens are back to contending status. Winning 4 in a row, even if some are by the skin of their teeth, is a testament to their prowess. Who the fuck stops King Henry on the ground? Who slays the two-headed monster at full power? They're seeing red and want to scalp Chiefs in January. Washington did show signs of proving they're a strong team, but are they good enough just yet? I don't believe so. They have some work to do. I don't know if they will with that mess of a defense, but considering the rest of their shitty division, they have a solid chance of taking it this year. That's all they need. The ride never ends, Denver. The chance to prove the hopium of yours to be more than a noxious gas came and went like the wind. Too bad for you that Liquid LA has things that you don't, like offensive talent and a quarterback, and the ability to score points in the first half. Field of play became hell. Everyone's injured. Patrick Surtain got knocked out with a concussion. The Broncos are down to yarn and string on their O-line. Even coaches weren't spared. Jim Harbaugh left the game with cardiac arrhythmia, but he returned shortly thereafter with new pants. Pulled a Lamar in the process. I respect it. The Broncos also Lamar'd all over the field against a team featuring fresh pants. Over by the third quarter, game, set, and match. People are gonna pretend that Mo Picks is showing progress, but ignore that he was 4 for 13 when the game actually mattered. Stats were padded in the extra long garbage session. You know who else was good in the fourth quarter? Kenny Pickett. At least he bullshit out some wins with his arm. Denver just deals with the never-ending anguish. Liquid LA somehow gets some happiness out of this, but the hopium will still be huffed in Mile High. They need something to numb the pain. Out of all the bullshit and Deus Ex Machina I've witnessed with the Steelers, this was the most bullshitty of them all. It was an incredible sight to see. I firmly believe the Steelers Venmo'd the refs a few $100,000 before the game to give them every significant call. It started as the standard play-down to competition Tomlin special, but the Raiders are run by idiots. They give the ball to a white boy running back. TJ Watt does his standard superhero act to give the Steelers the ball in routine order. Justin Fields threw a terrible interception. Wait, there's a flag for a bullshit roughing the passer penalty. Body weight. What a fucking crock. Pittsburgh takes the TD and towels fly throughout Las Vegas. Who the fuck blocks Jeremiah Moon on a punt? No one, that's who. 3rd and long leading to a punt. Oh my, another flag. And even more bullshit roughing the passer penalty on Max Crosby. This incredible MacGuffin leads the Black and Gold Brigade to another touchdown. The Raiders have just scored 6 of their own thanks to bad defense. It's okay, just wait for the flag. There we are. Ineligible man downfield. What a pity. They'll just have TJ Watt do more anime bullshit to force a fumble at the goal line. I don't get what the Raiders see in AOC since he fucking sucks, but it leads to a Steeler victory, so 9-8 Super Bowl lives on. It's not even a good one since Pittsburgh played like shit, but ref ball's on their side. What's there to complain about? No one cares for the Raiders. They are ass. Shoo. Go trade Devontae for a day 2 pick and be on with your life. The Falcons will continue their rise through the ranks. To overcome the horrible 28-3 curse, they must counter with an artifact that is stronger. That might be the Riz of Kirk Cousins. It might be the offense itself. Just like last week, they were a machine. An all-encompassing weapon that can strike you down in ways inconceivable to the human mind. This might be the best unit they've featured since the Millennium Falcon. They keep getting 400-yard days while giving up no sacks, it works. Their might is unstoppable in Charlotte. And it leads to magnificent breakthroughs. They gave carries to Bijan near the goal line. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. Arthur Smith would have given those to Jonnu Smith for a 2-yard loss or some shit. Meanwhile, if you're Carolina, at least the Hurricanes are starting their season in Raleigh. They won't let you down until May, so head over there and be a victim of the Red Rifle. Still better than Bryce, though. The Falcons did what they needed to do. And while it was an easy opponent, they get their most convincing win of the season. Pathetic, yes, but sometimes you have to take what you can get. All that matters is the final record. Just another notch on the belt. Every time the NFL tried to post this game on YouTube, it got instantly blocked. This is adult content. Spank bank material for the entirety of the NFL world. Jerry Jones received a fantastic 82nd birthday gift in the form of being repeatedly punched in the balls. From an unbeaten streak at home to Dallas's worst home loss in 35 years. Detroit wanted to prove that the Cowboys were frauds. Did so in at least 50 different ways. Ref ball fucked them last year. So Dan Skipper will be reported as eligible on the first play of the game and many plays after that. Ritual humiliation and sacrifice throughout the day in defiance of Jerry's shrine. The Lions not only proved themselves superior, they imprinted their taint on every Cowboys player and fan in attendance. Total defeat for Dallas. Yet Jerry loves his yes men, so Mike McCarthy will stay in the back playing electric football. America didn't just win, it was a day-long celebration. January has come early. Yet even for this massacre, this feels like a terrible loss for Detroit as well. Monkey's Paw granted their wish for a win in the style of Pyrrhus. Aiden Hutchinson. Compound leg fracture. Season over. A horrific loss, not just for injury, but for the talent taken away from us as fans. Not only devastating the Lions for the season, but might cost them a Super Bowl run as well. He was their best defensive weapon, and now he's gone until next year at best. They humiliated Dallas in revenge, but at what cost? The toll extracted may have been far too great. We could have had Kami's Ravens here, but no. We have to suffer through some of the most unwatchable dreck this week. That's saying something. Part of me feels like New York was paid by bookies to take a dive. I know, strong statement, but considering how often they fucked up from not covering Joe Burrow on a long touchdown run to repeated failures on offense, there's screens. Why else would Danny Derps chuck a ball to nothing for an easy pick for Jermaine Pratt? New York's defense is holding their own? Good. That just means the offense will do absolutely nothing against one of the worst defensive units in the league. Getting the ball at half? Go for it on your own 38 and fan. Don't worry, the defense will bail them out again. And then finally, finally, they score a touchdown with the help of some zebras. About goddamn time. Their defense rewards them by finally bending to get the Bengals in field goal range. But that's it. A 3-point game. All the Derp has to do is the bare minimum and they win. Not with Greg Joseph. Minnesota knows that failure well. There's another chance given for the G-men on offense, but remember that their QB is Daniel Jones. There will only be misery on failed fourth downs. The chance is gone since he escapes with their second win on the year. The problem isn't that the Giants lost, it's that they were so wasteful. Countless opportunities to take a game undone by their own incompetence. Danny Derp sucks. Greg Joseph should have his leg amputated. The defense needs reparations. Cincinnati didn't necessarily win, but got bailed out by the G-men and Joe Burrow. Figures the game ends on another derped field goal. Them and Green Bay should fight to the death for a kicker. Winner gets a rehabbing destroying for their social media team. When things go south for a franchise, we laugh and mock their failure. When this sort of stuff happens to the Jets, it feels like an old standard. To err is human. To jet is repeated. Hassan Reddick was a sound buy in the offseason. New York needed an edge rusher to replace Bryce Huff, and Reddick was a luxury good for Philadelphia. Only problem was Hassan. He's held out since the trade. He's become the modern prodigal son. Fining him, yelling at him, and pleading with him hasn't worked. They even offered him an extension, paying more money than he was getting this year, yet still rejected it. His agency threw their hands in the air and cut ties. Finally, New York's run out of patience and is allowing him to seek a trade out. Lowell Jets is renewed without the team even doing anything wrong here. I respect it. He's a man of conviction. If he doesn't want to play for the shitty Jets, no gold or jewels in the world can change his mind. We should all strive for such wise judgment in life. Aaron Rodgers has begun his purge to forge the new-look Jets. Jeff Ulbrich is puppet of Manchukuo. Todd Downing calling plays and a lateral move rivaling his jet sweeps with the QB. This is as must-win as it gets. Home crowd, an in-division rival, and a chance to shed old narratives. It'll be a lot uglier than it reasonably should. New York squandering shots to lead despite the defense trying to hold Josh Allen. They really can't. All seems lost with Buffalo pulling away at the end of the first half, but then the bailout.
Here we go. Up into the air, into the end zone, and now the other official saying touchdown.
Aaron Rodgers still has something left in the tank. He's on the decline, but he can still throw the Hail Mary. Wait, it's not Detroit of the playoffs. This has to be illegal. No, it is. The Jets taking center stage in their own house. My friends, the real stars of the show wore different uniforms tonight. The ref ball. Jesus Christ. So many flags flying everywhere, I thought I was in front of the UN building. The NFL decided that there was too much of this pesky football happening and wanted everyone to see the Zebras working at law firms during the week. 22 penalties between both teams. And those were just the ones accepted. Most of these infractions were bullshit, phantom, called to cover the over for penalty yardage on DraftKings or all three. There was a penalty called for improper conversation with an official. What were they talking about, the class action lawsuit? Aaron Rodgers, a man whose injury was responsible for roughing the passer ref ball increasing tenfold, is calling this stuff out. Perhaps he can teach his receivers to catch or his linemen to block, even after being gifted countless opportunities to get back to 500. Even as Tyler Bass makes a mockery of anything resembling field goal kicking, New York lives up to the stereotype. When there's defeat inside a victory, they'll do anything to reach it. Failed drives aplenty. Greg the wide left leg not only hitting one upright, but two of them. And as a coup de grace, Mike Williams being eaten alive by the MetLife turf monster to give Buffalo a game-stealing pick. Sean McDermott, you may serenade Josh Allen and 9/11 allegories for the right to be 4-2. This was such a Jetsy way to lose. The last 2 years they were a quarterback away. Now they have a better QB, but lost everything else. I bet Robert Saleh's gonna be Trotsky'd in the morning. It's panic time, East Rutherford. Aaron Rodgers ain't happy. He'll say he has no power in New York, but let's be real. If he can cast all the blame on Mike Williams for him missing a wide-open Breece Hall, he'll do it. Devontae Adams is pissed off in Raider Nation. He will be reunited with Aaron no matter the cost. Las Vegas had an asset with depressed value, yet still got everything they wanted and then some. A conditional third-rounder that could become a second, and the Jets taking on the rest of his contract. There are 2 more years on the deal without restructures or release. Is it completely desperate? Oh yeah. It's totally gonna solve their issues in kicking and coaching too. Joe Douglas has become a puppet. Mike Williams, you failed since you tripped trying to adjust to an underthrown ball. Aaron's not only going to throw you under a bus, he's putting your carcass on the open market. But Buffalo sees this and makes their own move. They need their own star wideout to add to the arsenal. The Bills lack a true frontline receiver. While Amari Cooper isn't what he was as a Raider, he's still an upgrade for them. Cleveland's having a fire sale to try and retrofit the Factory of Sadness for a modern age. And Amari's the first piece to go. Acquiring him for a 5th, keeping him for a few years, then flipping him for a 3rd. Even when the Cowboys aren't involved, they're taking so many L's you think they were playing the Packers. Cooper is free. He gets to go to a real team with a real quarterback again. And he'll be worth it. If he can find his missing hands. He leads the league in drops. Hopefully that's not a trend here. Prepare yourselves. The trades are gonna start to fly.
Bring out Jadine! Bring out Jadine! Bring out Jadine!
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Thanks very much. That's all. See you on Thursday. Right.
A lot of room down here at the bottom for Jeremiah Smith. 3rd and 20. Howard, a lot of time coming off. Howard's going to run for it. Time runs out, and that'll do it.
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to the Big Ten, Oregon. They storm the field at Autzen, and the Ducks win this bout 32-31.